Talk show. Recorded live.
Good morning, good evening, wherever you may be across the nation or around the world. Once again, you are listening to the VMware Community's Roundtable Podcast. This is podcast number 592. My name is Eric Nilsson, and with me today, I have my regular co-host, Matt Longeth. Today is February 16th, 2022. Matt, how you doing today?
Eric, I have a great, interesting one for you. And just play along here with me, if you will. Have you been driving your 2016 Mazda CX-5 in the Seattle area and be happening to listen to radio station KUOW-FM on your HD radio player within your Mazda CX-5?
I was not. I have not been.
Well, so if you were just happen to be one of those, special people that within the last month or so just happen to have those unique situations all played together, right? You're up there in the Puget Sound area, you're cruising along in your 2016 Mazda CX-5. The station manager just happened to put in a file within the HD radio broadcast that didn't have a file extension. So HD radio, I'm sure that listeners that are out there that happen to have this in their particular home or
I know where
likely in their car, right? You might have read about this, right?
No, I didn't, but I can just imagine.
So there is an image that you can display with,
Right.
It could be the artwork or whatnot. And the image that for this particular track didn't have a file extension. Well, in that particular instance, when it went out over the air, it absolutely bricked the infotainment system within 2016 Mazda CX-5s, up until the point where now Mazda is saying that the only fix for this entire, overall problem is gutting the infotainment system out of the CX-5 and replacing it with an entire new module. No hard resets, no flashing firmware or whatnot. It literally bricked the infotainment system over the air just because of a wrong file extension. Yes. Folks, if you don't believe me, this is out there. This is not, an anomaly or one of those over-exacerbated news stories. Car and Driver or infogeek.com. And if you search for NPR and Mazda CX-5, you can read along. But this is what a great, interesting story of technology maybe gone a little askew. But other than that, sir, to answer your question, I am doing well. Things are great here in central Pennsylvania. How are things out your way out in the West Coast? How's the weather and what is the color of the bay?
Well, let me tell you, it is a beautiful day here. And hey, I know what they're talking about. My son works at Roku. They're always worried about doing updates that brick the hardware. And if you brick the hardware the wrong way, there's nothing you can do but take it out and give them a new TV, a new piece of hardware. The only good news there is that you try to avoid bricking everyone. So hopefully it's only if you're in Seattle driving a particular car brand and XYZ, and somebody sends out that exact file, and it turns out it's only 2 car owners and that impacts. And so it's just an inconvenience, but it's technology. It happens. I'm doing great. The weather here in California is beautiful. It's been dry and sunny. It's like 68, 70 degrees, beautiful days. My beehives are out. They think it's spring. The flowers are blooming. I think we've just skipped the rest of winter. Hopefully we'll get 1 or 2 more storms for the water, but it has been great. On the show today, we're going to be talking to Piotr Tarnawski. He's here. Piotr, thanks for being on the show. We're going to be talking about his blog. He's got a really cool blog. I love this blog. This is so me. It's called the Angry Sysop blog, angrysysop.com. And I think on it, he says it's angry, has a video playing. And it's like a stern voice that goes, I'm going to teach you things, but I'm not going to be nice. It's great. So Piotr, great to have you on the show. And thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll get to you. He's got some great articles out there, 44 articles on vCenter, vRealize Ops. He's got 17 articles, PowerShell. He's got 14. And then he's just got some just for fun things. One of the just for fun ones I'm going to ask him about because I totally get this is the Google one, right? What what
yeah.
things they see and what I see when looking at their logos. I just had to crack up when I saw that article. But before we get to you, Piotr, let's talk vExperts because it's a big day. So Corey, welcome to the show. I hope things are going good out in Utah. How you doing?
Doing well. Things in Utah are going great. We went from sunny, warm, 50 degrees to you can't even see across the street. It's snowing so hard and cold. But vExpert got some good vExpert news today. We announced the 2022 vExpert program this morning, and I just want to say shout out to all the vExpert pros as well as the vExperts. The vExpert pros do a lot of work on making sure that all these applications get voted on fairly. They get looked at. They get looked at 2, 3, 4 times even sometimes. They also go back, and myself, I go back through and look at all the denied and make sure that we're denying people for the right reasons and there aren't any missed opportunities. We will be opening the sub-programs for 10 sub-programs starting mid to late next week. That will go out. Once those open up, I will email all of the vExperts and let you know that those are out. But again, congratulations to everyone, and I'm excited for this year.
Yeah, that's great. I got to say, it's challenging with COVID, right? To do anything, right? Like we all have Zoom fatigue, where we have desk fatigue. Like we get excited. I'm excited. Then I get depressed because it's like, wait, everything's stopping. No, it's starting. No, it's stopping. And it's like, yeah, you're still trying to do your day job, putting priorities together, making things happen. And so everybody lives in this space. So congratulations to everyone. I heard over 2,400, maybe close to 2,500 vExperts.
It's close to 2,500. Yes.
Yep. Very good. And, it's a lot of work for everybody and a lot of work to be an advocate. Piotr will tell us about, how you just have to produce content even when there's COVID. Companies still have to run, IT systems have to be updated, and then to be an evangelist on top of this, right? To take extra time, which this is nobody's day job. My boss does. I don't even think my manager. I got a new VP. I don't even think he knows I do a podcast. I don't think he knows. He knows I run the blogs platforms, and my team runs the community platforms, the blog platforms, and we run the social on Facebook and Twitter. But beyond that, I think we've told him about vExperts, and he's yeah, that's nice, whatever that is, right? Like, so it's like you don't get a lot of rewards sometimes, other than just being part of the community. So, and that's the way the pros are. That's the way I'm sure Piotr is. I mean, I don't think Salesforce is given a pat on the back for running the Angry Sysop.com, but we all do this, and the vExpert Award is a way for all of us just to recognize and say thank you, right, Matt? I think that's my take on the subject.
That's it. Absolutely right. This is a peer recognition from all of the effort that is put in. This isn't necessarily about the awards and accolades. This is just a recognition from one fellow virtualization admin to the next of the community effort that you're putting in to share what you know and to put back into the knowledge realm that it is out there, that our guest obviously has been so fruitful in doing and prolific as a blog writer, and so many other individuals within the vExpert community to get out there and make the average life of the virtualization admin a little easier.
Yeah. I've been writing a little Windows code. I installed Visual Studio, and I'm just doing a little home project with one of my kids. And it's like trying to do things, right, that you don't know how to do, right? And then Googling and trying to find somebody that actually explains it correctly, right? Like, and there's a lot of bad, people writing code on Reddit and other weird places. And it isn't until you get a real high quality blog that walks you through the steps where they've done it, that you can see it, that you go, oh, thank God I found somebody that took the time to explain how this works. Man, it is one of these things that just helps us all get through the next project or the next thing you want to do running things, because you can just find a blog article. And I got to say, VMware's ecosystem is the best. I've gotten used to that when I look for things about VMware, that I'm like, oh, here's a blog article, explains exactly how to do it. Oh, William Lamb, Peter, other people are sharing all the things that you need to do. Very, very high quality blog articles. And then I go into Microsoft Visual Studio.
It's the exact same situation. I was trying to, of all things, do some automation on OneNote. And yeah, of course there's internal documentation that is out there, but it's not the most intuitive thing, right? Where it's someone taking that time to translate what is that white paper or the official documentation and turn it into a consumable material.
Right.
And or more likely what it is of how this applies to a real world scenario where it's ultimately of the most benefit. And for someone to take that time and to give it back, it's some of the best content to get out there and really makes everyone's life all that much more easier.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Corey, thank you to you to make this happen. I laughed back at the time that you were out sick one year, and we had to do it, and it took us like 4 months, and I was crying at the end because I was so happy that it finally got done, and we announced the awards because I'm like, oh my God, there's so much work to just organizing. And we've talked about this at VMworld a couple times, where if you have more than 300 people in a list, maybe 400, you can do it. You can march through and you can send an email to 400 people. No problem. You just sit there and grind through it. And it takes you a day or two to get copy paste to everybody. And the list is long. But the minute you go over 400, you get 600, 800, 1,000, 1,200, 2,000. It's like impossible to do, right? It's impossible to keep track of it. So shout out to, what's his name that writes the tool, right? Martin, thanks. Shout out to Martin for making that happen. Shout out to all the code coaches. Shout out to you for not going absolutely crazy and getting it done year after year. So it's one of these things that, one, helps everybody. Our ecosystem is 100 times better than anybody else's, and two, just so it helps the company, helps the success of our products, helps Raghu, helps everybody. But then at the same time, just helps us all have a nice life. So appreciate it. And thanks to everybody. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Enough patting ourselves on the back and saying everybody, yay for everybody. Yeah, that's good. Let's get on with the show, which is the Angry SysOp. Again, Piotr, thanks for being here. Tarnawski.
Thank you. Yeah.
I just do it for fun, but welcome to the show. I know it's our first time on. We looked at your blog. Your blog was trending. Obviously, we picked up your blog because you had one of the ones on the vSphere bugs, the rollback that they did, which was interesting. You had a good blog on that, and a shout out. But then we actually started looking at your blog, and your blog is really a great blog. It reminds me of kind of the Craigslist of blogs, right? You got a lot of stuff on there, right? You got a lot of categories. It's not like super polished, right? It's got a lot of text. It's got a lot of great content. And that's, for me, I like that kind of stuff. I'm a shell guy in general. So you just get to the point. You have some nice images, but you just have a lot of good content there. And the way you tell the story is from your perspective, how you're running your data center, what do you run into? It's almost like a personal diary of the things that you've experienced and needed to fix in your data center. So having set that stage, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been an IT practitioner, how'd you get here, what's your career arc, then how'd you get blogging, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, again, thank you for having me. It's an honor, especially like I start my blog not even a year ago. It will be next month a year, and that's been trending, which is very nice. However, I checked my email box and I didn't see the vExpert application that was approved. I don't know, maybe it was, maybe not. But anyway, the idea for the blog came from me doing the documentation for our work. So we have quite a few tasks which had to be documented, and I'm the magnet for unexpected. So if something breaks, you cannot Google that. So you just Google, people has a similar problems, but not exactly your problem. And because of this, I was like, no one can help me. So yeah, I started documenting the work, and then I said like, why not to share with the community? That people may came across the same problem as I am, and why not? And that was the idea, and that's where this is coming from, and that's why it's so personal, because it is what's happened to me, and it is the way I apply the things.
Nice.
Yeah.
How long have you been an administrator?
about like the proper like 4 years. But I was working with VMware, not a VMware. Like I started my current journey 8 years ago with Salesforce. The
Okay.
previous I was with the other company, so about 10 years all in all together. It took me a long time because since the college time I want to go to IT, but I wasn't lucky enough. I had super different jobs. I was the rickshaw driver, like tourists in my hometown,
Right.
which I was driving the people straight to and for the college line.
Right.
What I sell the mobile phones. So
Sure.
I did loads of few things, and finally I got a luck. I get an IT position, and then it took off. Of course, I did my chores as a help desk. So,
Yes, you went in to help.
like many people went through, like I did my time.
It's interesting because me and Matt have discussed this. That like I did a survey once on how many people that are IT practitioners actually got their college degree, and got in the industry through university. How many people didn't? And it's only 1 out of 10 actually went through college, right? 9 out of 10 have come up through, maybe did some college, ended up in softer jobs. I have one guy was a gas station operator, right? Like, ran a gas station for a lot of years, and then ended up doing IT for the gas station, and ended up and here one guy was a goat farmer, right? Like, so we have a lot of different people that have come up, and that's why I always ask the question, how did you get here, right? Because it's always fun to hear how you got here. And I think you're in Ireland now, right? So I
am in Ireland, yes. For 16 years,
Ireland,
I'm in Ireland, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very common story that we come up through, and then we gravitate because we like it, right? Like
it is, yes, yes, exactly. And to be honest with you, I think I have the best job ever. Like, not maybe the most like paid job, but the best ever. Like I'm not working. I am not working. I'm doing this task. I'm waking up and I'm excited actually what task I have to do today. So
I tell Matt that
I'm lucky. I consider myself a lucky person.
I tell Matt that because Matt's always like, "Oh, I got to work today again," and he's always complaining to me.
I don't say these things. I enjoy what I do.
Bad his work.
I really do.
And then I go, "Oh well, it's because you don't podcast enough, dude. You always take off, and you never come to our podcast show because you're always meeting with those customers." So
yeah, those dang customers. They just get in the way.
Customers is a different story.
Have customers,
Customer is a different story, yes or no? Like, so I'm so happy I'm not dealing with the customers, like only internal customers, but not external.
So you're in enterprise in Ireland. Salesforce must have enterprise, in Ireland, obviously, and so transitioned into support, and then into support into IT, and then into IT into IT for vSphere.
So it was like a help desk, and then I went to network operations center. So it was everything. Like it was network, virtualization, platform, everything, and from there to administration. so it was a long way. But being in NOC, I was doing the vSphere stuff. I was administrating already. And then my manager's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I have to patch that vCenter." Is it for us? I said, "Kind of it is, because if I don't patch, we have an incident and then we have to run it." So yes, kind of that. But yeah, I was always interested in the stuff. I was always want to learn, and yeah, here I am.
So how did you discover blogging, and then obviously you did a vExpert app as well. So how did you get into the sharing aspect of doing your job?
So, like, again, that came when I was doing the documentation. When I was documenting the stuff, I think the first one was like how to backup vCenter and how to restore vCenter, because that was neglected. So we had to like check the document for just to know what to do.
Right.
But so this was the VMware, but I had my private blog, like super private, from the helpdesk times, because I wouldn't remember what was the cause of the problem like a week ago. So I put everything on my private website, and I had like in the Google site, but it was only for me accessible.
Right.
And then I said I felt like I have like a quite knowledge base, and I was like, I start sharing internally with my colleagues. And that's like, why not open for the world? Like, and I was doing this documentation for the vCenter and everything. It's like, this is a good starting point. And that's how it started. Like, yeah. And as you said before, like, I'm doing this after hours and on my own time. So sometimes to record the video, it takes me a week. Or like record the video is quite quick, but then to produce the video is a week or 2 weeks, and that's why it is as it is.
Yeah, I do understand exactly how, because I do that with Facebook for my photos and things like that, where I'll just post them online in any SaaS tool that I want, just so I have an archive and I don't have to back the stuff up, right? Like I let the SaaS service companies back it up, but then pretty soon you have a repository thing, so that makes sense. And you know, in a year, and your articles have been really, really good. So it is true that Graham Mitchell says in chat that content is king, right? And real content is king, because we look at the marketing teams that produce content inside of VMware, and sometimes we cringe because we're like, it's pretty clear none of them have vSphere, right? They're not, you know, the agencies we hire that are trying to translate a marketing product requirements document to actually creating. It's like, I tell them, you know, what we need to do is just ask some of the experts to do a lab, document it, and then write it up and give it back to us, and then we'll share it, because that's the best kind of content there is somebody that's actually running it in a data center to get that. And before we go on, Corey Romero looked you up, and you did make vExpert. So
thank you.
The mail is on its way. Sometimes when we send mail across to Europe, it takes a little bit of time as mail servers choke on the volume of mails that we're sending out. But yeah, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy. Thank you, guys.
yeah, awesome, great. So Matt, we were going to talk a little bit about the initial issues with the
this relates back to Log4j, right?
Right.
With on 6.5 and 6.7 and even 7.0, and prior to us having full-blown patches, which for now all of those products have been released, that there was workarounds that were available. Mm-hmm. So although those workarounds still could apply, but that the optimal configuration would obviously be to patch and apply those new patched versions, depending on, again, what would be your particular vCenter level that were out there. There could be, use cases where, for whatever reason, that you wouldn't be able to apply the patch, but still be able to apply the workaround, so that that would be your mitigation effort for the high severity that is Log4j. So Peter's article has detailed out in his blog post what were some of those workaround steps. And then there was, even at the initial point, some additional steps for full remediation that we needed to go through. So yes, it's a little bit, let's say, dated material as far as that we have full-blown patches now that are available. But customers that could be out there for a myriad of reasons could be still looking at this of, well, because of compatibility or just life cycling or whatnot, we haven't been able to get the patch applied, but we obviously want to remediate for Log4j. So the workaround is still very relevant. So yes, a great thing here to call out, and obviously incorporated into all of our official documentation for the Log4j remediation and the VMSA itself. But Peter went into a little bit more detail here as far as what needs done.
Yeah, so I was actually thinking of it. I remember writing that article. Should I do it or not? Because it was highlighted on the VMware remediation side. But what I noticed, people like to have a look on the blogs. They don't actually need to look on the VMware website. And that information about the additional Python script wasn't that visible, and that's so true. It was just a mention akapit on the top of the page, as far as I remember, or somewhere there. And
right there, that was a long. I mean, amongst a long security
and
write up. Right?
What
the
I can say
documentation was extensive, and then we came back and said that there was an additional step that we needed to do to remove the class.
And the funny thing is that I didn't notice even like there's like I'm lucky enough to have a Tam from VMware, and she said like, have you seen the update? I was like, what update? Is it another update? Because as you mentioned, Matt, it was a long article.
Right, it was an evolving situation.
Yeah, of course.
Yep. We had to take our initial pass at it, and it was obviously best effort. And then we came back through and did some more analysis, and it was found that there was some other items that you needed to go through and clean up. And this was one of those items as far as removing the class out, and that it was a manual process to start. Yeah. And then they offered a script to go in and to to help to do this at scale.
So funny enough, again, like the first remediation, first workaround, I did it manually. And the next day, so, have you seen the script for it? I was like, what?
There has to be a better way, right?
What? Yeah. Well, thank you. I have a 4 vCenter, so I was okay to do this. Like, because if I would put my script myself, it would take more time for me to do this than just manually do it. But then it was script, and then again, this came up. This additional steps for the removing log.j4 class. So that's why I decided to do the separate article on it, and it picked up. It picked up, and people start asking, because as well I'm a member of a few Facebook forum for VMware, and it was kind of hot topic on there as well. Plus, there's some problems that with SCP once you don't have once you're on the application shell, not on the bash shell. So WinSCP doesn't want to connect. So I put a note over there as well, just to change for the bash shell. And I overthought that thing, because I said, if you want to go back to appliance shell, you need to do this. And the people didn't wait, and they apply all the steps, and they went back to appliance shell. And they said, hey, this doesn't work. I said, well, it does work. No, it doesn't work because it's still on the appliance. I said, show me what you did. And I did every single comment, plus the last comment, which would revert all the effort. Like, so, yeah.
One of the things that I notice about your blogs is that you also link back to the VMware articles, right? Which is
course,
right, yeah, of course. And what that does for people is it actually improves the SEO search engine on Google, because the links you have back to that content. So if you not only help because people might discover your blog and see that, because you link back to the main article, you actually increase SEOs, so that when people search on VMware on Google, they'll get more of those answers. It'll be easier to find, right? So not only do you share amongst your own readers, but you also increase search from Google. So that's why bloggers are really powerful from that perspective.
Yeah, no, I feel obligated to link to you guys, because it's not like it is my content, but it's thanks to you. So I always base on the official documentation from VMware. Like it's like I feel like I have to link.
One of these days, we're going to get you a CID code so that we can see how much revenue you generate us. Because if we give you a CID code and you put it on all your articles, then if people come into VMware and actually buy some product, we actually get revenue reports. So that remind me, I'm going to send everybody.
Of course, I will. Now I will.
We actually do that every once in a while for vExperts. We give everybody custom CID codes, and then we or source tracking codes, and we can actually track. How much actually, not only how many people find you through Google because you increase our SEO, but you also get people to come in and, experience our products, download HOLs, etc. So it is pretty cool. There are other articles that, are on your blog. Like I called out the numbers of articles. One of the things I want to ask before we get into some of these other articles is how much of your time is spent on security? I noticed you have a fairly nice section on security advisories. You have this for a year. You've got 16. It means you're doing over a security advisory per month. How many security advisories do you see yourself doing in your day-to-day job?
All of them. So I'm taking everything which is critical.
Right.
So that must be done. And to be honest with you, my team is mostly 2 of us, like me and my colleague, which he has more knowledge than me even. He's like my guru. And then we take other people's to help us remedy the issue. But the security is like trust is number one value, and the security has to be top notch. Like so we have our own like a team which is security, which they tell us like this is vulnerable, do it. And it's just like I'm just doing. And now I have like 3 articles about the update, the 3C, because it's a very strange update, to be honest with you. And I have in my environment vxRail as well, which Dell recommends to patch host first and then vCenter. But I'm lucky enough not to have this double driver issue. So I ran the script and all my environment are good to go. So
you didn't need to upgrade your host first.
I didn't.
That's the odd thing about U3C, right? Where this is the really odd thing where you may need to necessarily upgrade your hosts prior to upgrading your vCenters. Now, as part of the installer, right, it's going to go through and run that check. And as part of that check, it goes through and it looks to see if there is specific Intel drivers that are on your 7.0 hosts.
Yes.
And if you are, the installer will not continue. It will identify the hosts. It comes back and says, no, you need to bring up the host to a certain level, or in other words, figure out how to remediate this potential driver conflict that could affect HA operations on the hosts themselves. So it's a little out of sequence, and you have detailed that so thoroughly as again on a great blog article there, Peter.
Well, I just like we want to leverage as well Lifecycle Manager, so we want to do that ESXi plus firmware update in one go. Now, this is a bit tricky as well because you have to have an IDRAC center firmware level, which not all of them are there yet. So it's a bit like tricky for me, like to find out what is not working. But yes, it's a teething problem, I think, for that upgrade. Because what I want to do again, like I want to use the image and the firmware all together. A bit of investigation work, and then I will document, obviously.
Peter, let me ask you this: how are you finding out this information? Obviously, you're prolific in consuming it, right, and then turning it into these great blog posts and videos and whatnot. Are you relying on your TAM? Is there certain newsletters that you subscribe to? How do you? And there's no right answer to this. This varies from admin to admin. As far as how you consume that information. But I'm curious, you yourself, sir, how do you find out about these security releases and updates and whatnot?
So for security, I'm subscribed to security advisor from the VMware, plus my TAM send me the emails straight away as well. That's the main thing. Like so I got the security advisor, and then I got the email from TAM. And I said, and it's Friday, obviously, and it's 4 p.m. And I said, sugar. Again, no. I hate you Monday. So that's how it happens. And then obviously I'm going to the advisor website. We see what the criticality is. Because if it's important, we can live with that one, okay? We have like a longer time to remedy it. If it's critical, then we have like 7 days, basically, to fix the issue.
Okay. I have, because we will run out of time sooner or later. I wanted to touch base on a couple other articles that are out there.
Yes.
One that piqued my interest is how to determine if virtual machines have a USB controller attached and how to remove it. I think this is
very relevant for the Zimsa that had just dropped out here on Monday.
It was, yes, it was. So again, like now, this is true. This code on the website is not mine. It's actually VMware code. But again, this is so important that I just did because it was in the FAQ section that question, and I don't think so. It's visible. It's enough visible for people. So I put over there just to use PowerShell and just to find out if you have that problem and how to fix it. Yeah. Yeah, and that was dropped on Monday. Yeah.
Right.
Right. So that this,
yeah. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
so this is and forgive me if I mispronounce the name here, but Tanfu Cup vulnerability. So this is a competition that is either, I don't know, put on by the Chinese state or hosted within the state of China. That was late last year, early winter, where they have, that they just don't target VMware. All the major service providers and software vendors that are out there, where they had identified a vulnerability within our USB driver or USB implementation within ESXi. I believe this is 6.5, 6.7, and 7.0. 7.0U3C already contains the fix. 6.7 and 6.5, there are patches that are available that are out there as either an express patch, or for 6.7P06 that was dropped out in November is already remediated. But please take the time to read through that. And this, again, goes to that workaround issue, right, Peter, where we may not be able to immediately apply those host updates, but this has a high criticality, right? This is 8.2, 8.8.
And 8.3, I think, or 8.4.
8, somewhere in the 8s, right? It's
yes.
And we may need a way to mitigate the particular issue without necessarily getting the patch into the environment right away because of change advisory boards and compatibility and whatnot. So what Peter had pointed out was a way to go through and systematically look at a vCenter VM inventory to see which VMs were using the USB driver and to report that back out. There is, obviously we can't just rip and replace, because depending on how the OS is using that driver, it could cause OS level corruption. But it would at least allow an admin to know which particular VMs might be affected by this and to start to build a remediation plan.
Exactly. Very well said, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. That that takes me over to your PowerShell section, right? Which I got to say is kind of fun, because you're putting nice PowerShells there. A lot of this is written. You find these, right, and you're publishing them, right? Which I'd say, like, how much of this do you write yourself of these articles are there versus how much are you grabbing code? Does anybody write any code from scratch anymore anyway, right? Like, so you're grabbing problems, you put snippets there. I think there's been a couple other ones that I saw that were like very common, right? Like, you also talk about the new version of PowerShell and the fact that you can get VI appliance services now. Now that's not fixed, but there's a new VI appliance service. So you kind of we talked about that a couple podcasts ago, right? So it's like you're just giving us nice coverage of things that you can do in PowerShell. How much PowerShell do you actually write yourself?
Like most of the articles, most of the PowerShell from the articles is my code. Not all of them. Like as I said, like straight away, the USB is not my code at all. But yes, the PowerShell is not that complicated.
Right.
You have a get VM, get host, get, and then you just put the conditions. Like, obviously, like there's one very particular article about this. That was advisory about the CD-ROM some time ago. It's not that long ago, and I had that issue with one of the drivers, SATA driver, and I got this particular error. Can't remember off my head now what the error was, but every time I search for that error, people had an issue with IDE controller, not with SATA. And then I have to figure out how to apply to my problem that one. And I search for the code, and I combine two codes to one code. So it is a bit searching. It's like Stack Overflow, yeah. For us. But from different, actually, I'm not using Stack Overflow. I'm just using the different. Like, I'm just using for PowerShell code in the search engine, and then I combine or try to figure out myself. But quite few, like most of them, is the codes which I came up with. So.
Peter, I like what you're doing. You go through on these articles and you reference, if If it's not something that you had generated totally on your own, you reference the original
Yes.
code snippet of where you found it, and then you show, here's how I modified that code snippet
Yes.
to my particular problem. I think that's great,
Yes.
right?
And-
It's saying, I'm not writing this from scratch, but
No.
I want to take this and I want to change it into something else, and make a slight modification, and that helps even a greater number of people that are out there, because they could find something where all those results similar to what you had, right? Where it's
Yes.
someone has a
Yes.
bunch of IDE issues, but yours is, well, I want to take the same problem and I want to do it for SATA. So
Yeah.
it's how can I take what's out there and tweak it a little bit and then share that with the community as well? I think it's a great approach.
What I like as well to do is to explain the code the way I see it, so you know exactly what every line does for what's happening there.
Right.
So
Mhm.
you can take it and you can do whatever you want. Because like sometimes I look at the code and it's like, wow, it's like lines of code, and even if it is description, it's for me it's not that easy like to figure out what will happen. Like I can figure out after a while, or I can run it and see what's going on.
Yeah, you almost need to do that initial step through, right? The
Exactly,
first time
like,
it
so-
runs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's why I like to like explain my readers, my viewers, because sometimes I do the video, what's going on with the code and why it's happening, what's happening. Like, so yes.
Yeah.
It's
All
just,
right.
just to share the knowledge, like just
Yes. There's a couple other pieces, and I'll just do angrysysop.com. Go check it out. ANGRYSYSOPS.com. Go check it out. It's a great blog, and it's kind of fun. You have a competition there. You were giving away a VMware VCP certification vouchers. They're kind of fun. Doing a little marketing. That's always good. Great effort. I got to give you credit there. But one of the things that I mentioned earlier is just for fun. I mean, you just have a good, sections, fun place to go hang out for an hour or two and go, check out what he's got going on there. The just for fun that I like, you got a shower curtain. That's a Windows thing. It's just
I
like,
tried to buy that one. I couldn't find anywhere, but I would like to have that one in my home. I love it.
say, but the one that I like is what Google sees versus what I see. And you just have an image of what Google sees, and they have all their little brand icons. Matt, I don't know if you got this. I should just share my browser here. Maybe Julia can help me if I do a share slides. No, share screen. Oh, I got to share my whole screen. This is going to be ugly. Allow, lock. Oh, I don't. Select window. Oh, cool. All right, give me a second. I'll just share screen. Browser, Firefox. Can I do this? I don't know if I can do this fast enough for people that are on stream on that. No, I probably can't. Screen one. Sure, we'll screen. That's never going to happen. That's not going to work. Well, we'll allow it and we'll see, but that's going to be huge. And then I can go click here. Will it? Oh, I shared the wrong screen, didn't I? Of course I did. Well, stop share screen. We'll try one more time real quick here. Share screen. Allow. This is the worst thing to do on a podcast. Screen 2. There we go. Allow. There it is, Matt. Maybe you can see those.
You covered that.
Oh,
there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. What Google sees, the icons. I don't know if I can make this big or not. There you go. What Google sees.
There we go.
It is so true. It is so true. I have to look on my phone for a few minutes before I said, "Is that the email or is that something else?"
Because I use email, I use all of these things. I'm like, what I see is like these little color squares, right? That are like, wait, I don't remember what any of these are. What Google thinks they're marketing to me are some little cute little color.
For our listeners that aren't able to see this along, we're looking at a screen with the Google icons for the various different G Suite products, and the analogy there being is that they're all pretty much the same, although that there's probably a tremendous amount of internal marketing effort and PLMs and PMs that would beg to differ, that they're its own unique branding from within the G Suite offerings.
That's right. It's like all the branding is just little yellow, green, red squares, and I don't remember what any of them mean anymore. So I have to click on them to see which one I'm supposed to be going to. Right? It's cute, but the point of this is your blog has a lot of things like this, little cute things that are fun to go check out. So go check it out. And I would say that very nice blog. VX.
Yeah, also the YouTube channel right there for all of his video content
Yes.
as well, and Peter has a tremendous amount of video assets that are out there. So go head over to the angrysysops.com. So angry sysops.com to check out Peter's site and his YouTube channel as well.
Right. Now, the other thing
Thank
that we
you.
ask everybody, Peter, is like, what are you looking forward to in 2022? Got any big plans? Stay alive, obviously, stay healthy. I know you can't really talk about what you do at Salesforce very much, but any big plans for your blogs or sharing? You're now a V-expert.
Yeah, I want to explore that. I want to explore vExpert. That's for sure. I will keep blogging because I didn't know, guys, that it's like I thought it'd be like a niche blog. I didn't know it's. I will be invited to your show. Like I am. I'm so super happy. And the first that's I got like invitation for advocacy.vmware.com.
Oh yeah, right.
I was like, wow, what's that? And I just check it, and my articles are accepted that from my blogs, which is great, and people share them. And then you guys invite me to the podcast, which makes me that I want to continue what I'm doing, and there will be more content.
That's great.
Yeah, because like it's nice. It's recognition is that's what I like. Like you did good job. There you are. You with us, yeah. But I'm not doing that for any other reason than just to share with people. So yes,
What about any technology? Anything that gets you excited?
Yes. So I am looking into Bitfusion.
Okay.
So because we may have that need for the GPU usage.
Yeah.
But those cards are quite expensive. So I can't have like 1,000 of those cards, but I can have have a few servers, but I have like more virtual machines that I can put on those servers. I can use a Bitfusion, yes. So I have a host without GPU, and the Bitfusion will make that connection happen. So that's something I think we'll be exploring.
Nice
for that one.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I see that. I saw an article that you had an AI article somewhere on it. I can't find it right now on your blog, but I think that I stumbled into something that was talking about AI, but I didn't read it on your blog. So
yeah,
certainly a lot of room for GPUs and AI, and that's a strategy to do that. Yep.
I want to see the virtualization going on, like the VR, like the VMware session or the VR was just wow.
Well, I'm
a huge fan of it.
That's the one that I saw. I saw that you had been to a VMware session on VR. It wasn't AI; it was VR.
I love the VR. I'm a fan of it. I have Oculus 2, Quest 2, which is not a high end, but it's very good.
It's fun.
I don't have equipment to connect to the computer, so I can't run the VMware on. But I'm very neat what the future holds, because if that would be amazing, actually. So I know it won't happen in 2022, but maybe in the near future,
I am constantly shocked about the number of very, very large enterprises that I hear, and without naming names, that have not just minor efforts, but major efforts to deploy VR out to their workforce in some capacity, whether it's sales or consumer facing, or even in distribution or some other type of adoption model. But it's very much top of the priority list, and they're actively working at this. I mean, this isn't just some niche thing for adoption's sake. There is real business drivers behind VR workloads that are out there at very, very large organizations.
Yeah, and interesting what you can do with that one as well. Like you can physically be there on the host, and not only because you can do all those stuff now as well, but you have imagine that, but being there with the glasses is different story, and it may help admins or people who starting with that one or with the concept of virtualization, because not everyone is grasping the concept that you have like the server, and those server has machines, and those machines are in Japan, like, let's say, yeah. So
Right.
so for us it's obvious, but I met so many people which don't grasp that concept. So if they can be physically with the host, like, that's could change, and that could allow more people to the industry.
We often talk about the next generation, or excuse me, next generation of VMware admins, and these new learning opportunities are out there. And if we can roll in VR as part of how someone might consume what is the virtualization story, because they're a visual learner, and that's another way for them to understand and consume that concept. I think it'd be a great way.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I agree. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're at the top of the hour. The only thing I noticed on your blog that you don't talk about is Tanzu and modern apps. So maybe one of these days you'll dig into that as well.
We on the road with Tanzu. We started. It's that's not been finalized yet. That's why not that many content, but it will appear. Because Tanzu is a big thing. That's why we on the version 7. Because we want to check Tanzu. Because usually I would stay one version behind, and that was like I should be on the 6.7, but because of the Tanzu, we push for 7 because we are getting there. So don't worry, there will be Tanzu content soon. I don't know when, but it will be for sure.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, all right. With that, you are again angrysysops.com. Do you have a Twitter handle? Is it angrysysops.com?
At angrysysops. That's plural. Ops.
Oh, you got the S. Angrysysops. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Then dropping the S. It's the S there at the bottom. So go give them a follow. And barbecue report. I don't think I have any barbecue that we're going to talk about today. Did some steaks the other day. And Tony Foster is just on the YouTube chat right now. We have a talk show issue, so we'll just skip the barbecue report. Matt, thanks for dropping by. Hopefully we're going to be back again next week. And I believe we're going to be talking
bare metal implementations of what is bare metal workloads.
Bare metal. Yep.
I feel like we're bringing things full circle, right? We're talking about bare metal implementations and how it relates to. Oh, I feel like Eric for a second here, where I need to check what the topic's going to be.
No, it's bare metal, and I picked that one off the list because I feel like VMware has now is producing management software, and you actually don't need ESX underneath in order to use the VMware layer to do multi-cloud. And if you want to deploy workloads to bare metal, that's fine with us too, because you're using the infrastructure to do it. So I think it'll be fun to come listen to what they have to say.
Right. So this is the idea where we're true, right? Infrastructure as a service. This is the IaaS offerings and how we're consuming what is bare metal offerings from the cloud providers, and then we were laying down our SDVC stack. So this is a continuation of what has been now a long roadmap with products like the Azure VMware solution and VMC on AWS and GCVE and everything that we have on Oracle and IBM Cloud and the other service providers that are out there. So this is how we are consuming services, bare metal services as an organization that to then provide customer services with our VCF and SDDC stack.
Peter, thanks a lot for being here, and we'll be back in next week. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you for having me. That was a nice pleasure.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.